Hello, Projectioner here. I decided to make a Five Nights at Candy's Popgoes timeline because MatPat's final FNAF timeline came out recently. Um, this is like my fourth or fifth attempt at recording this to make it actually sound decent. Uh, I'm only going to use original Popgoes stuff, so that's Popgoes 2016, Popgoes Arcade 2016, Popgoes Arcade 2, and then the 4 available Five Nights at Candy's games. Beyond that, not using any other source of information except for Popgoes memories. I do have Popgoes memories so that way I have information on Bonnie Glade, Jeremy Fitzgerald, and Simon Fitzgerald. More about them later, but let's jump into this, shall we? A lot happens before the events of Five Nights at Candy's 3. For example, the birth of Mary Schmidt and her brother. At some point, Mary and her father go to the Rat and Cat Theater every day for 5 days. Each day, Mary would play hide-and-seek with one of the mascots. On the final day, Mary joins all the other kids in playing with the rat. With no other hiding spot, Mary hides in a locker of the employees-only room. When the rat comes to find her, the actor and show partner of the character of Vinny, while attempting to remove the mascot head from the rat's actor due to him being drunk, he accidentally kills him by pushing him back into a table. When the cat finds what happened, the puppeteer goes and kills him before he can call the police. Just jumping off the deep end, I see. Great. Needless to say that after this, the theater is shut down and Mary is in need of some serious therapy. However, when the place has its grand reopening, something goes wrong. The animatronic of the rat leans down and attacks Mary's little brother, giving her one more reason to need therapy, which she would receive. After both of these events, Mary would start going to therapy and receive the help she needs. She begins to slowly combat the monsters of what she witnessed, whether those being the rat, the cat, and later Vinny, and she would later go on to testify to the police about what it was she saw. November 13th, 1964. At midnight, the rat animatronic apparently wakes up and, being between the, at the time, new Candy and Blank animatronics, he stands up, causing them to kind of slump over a bit. He gets his bearings for a couple minutes, then walks away, grabbing the camera on his way out, cutting the feed for 4 hours. When it comes back up, we see that the Blank and Candy animatronics haven't been moved since the rat bumped up, caused them to slump over when he stood up. However, Vinny, now I think possessed by the puppeteer, shows up and gives a message. A mistake. My mistake. A problem. Your problem. The feed then cuts out after this. 4 years later, in November of 1968, Jeremy and Simon Fitzgerald are born. In their teenage years, Simon would become obsessed with becoming immortal, and through a process he found a solution through blood. Don't ask me how he found that process, I just know it's a process, thanks to Popgoes memories. At first, he experimented with his own blood. However, during the time he's experimenting, he gets hired by Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, in which he saw an opportunity to get blood for his experiments. We all know where this is going, don't we? He uses the spring Bonnie suit to lure and kill 5 children in the back room. After several of these murders, the company's reputation started to go down the gutter, leading to the rumors of the, quote, Purple Man. At some point, he was given a second life, and so went to the new and improved Freddy Fazbear's Pizza to see whose blood it was. Soon after this, Jeremy worked the night shift, and once he was moved to days, Toy Bonnie, mistaking the brothers, bit Jeremy on the head, causing the bite of 87. With all the extra blood Simon apparently kept, and a, quote, encyclopedia's worth of pages of paperwork, Jeremy was given the transfusion, however, would sustain serious memory loss. At 18, he and his parents moved to England to escape the paparazzi, changing his name to Fritz Glade, while Simon went on the run. Let's rewind a bit to maybe 3 days after Jeremy's week at Freddy's. Mary Schmidt is working at the Candy's Burgers and Fries for the next 5 or 6 nights. Same kind of shift Jeremy had. Late into her week, she would have to survive not only the new animatronics, but also Old Candy and the rat. The night after Mary's week at Candy's was over, Vinny found himself at the same candies, props, and animatronics warehouse that the rat had woken up, and where he'd left that ominous message for whoever the heck was watching. Seriously, was that for Mary? Was it not? It doesn't make sense if it's not for Mary. I'm going on a tangent. I am so sorry. The night after that, a pair of twins would disappear at the same factory. They were kidnapped by the rat and put onto the conveyor belt. They did end up dying. We see the aftermath of this event in Night 2's camera feed. Let's see. After this, on the 24th, an investigation had been opened. However, by the next night, it had been completely wrapped up, and all that remained on the conveyor belt is the new Candy and Cindy, possessed by the spirits of the children that had been murdered. I guess you can't be near a Freddy's without children dying. Thanks, Simon. Moving on. 1990, Marilyn Schmidt was born. We'll get back to her very soon. 1993, Mike Schmidt, I hope there's no relation, worked his 6 nights at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Around this time, Simon returned to one of the locations that still had a spring Bonnie suit, and since he had killed a lot of children, they all got a second chance and wanted their revenge. This revenge involved tricking Simon to go into the spring Bonnie suit, which would trap him inside due to the spring locks. He was unable to truly die due to having a second life and whatnot. Anyway, 2002, the birth of Bonnie Glade, daughter of Fritz Glade. More about her later. Yeah, that's all we can say for now. Anyway, 5 years later, 17-year-old Marilyn Schmidt loses a bet with her friends, and is forced to spend a week in an old candies, props, and animatronics warehouse, one that still has old foes that her mother faced, those being these creatures from the Black Dot Blend files. I'm sorry for that joke, it was funny at the time. In retrospect, no it's not, but oh well, we're just going to continue, and we're going to keep it. Oh, and much like her mother, she also has to protect herself from the rat and the cat. This is the same warehouse where the rat killed those twins that possessed Candy and Cindy, and where there were apparently 4 other murders. Thanks! I was joking about the not being near a freaking Freddy's without somebody dying, but I guess it's true. Wow. That cannot be good for business. So, after Marilyn uses her sanity and burns that factory to the ground, honestly, I would do the same, nothing happens. This is when everything kind of goes silent for 16 or so years. After Marilyn burns down the old candies, props, and animatronics warehouse, that's the end of the candy stuff. Mary and Marilyn aren't heard from again, so let's see what the Glade family's been up to, shall we? I really wish I had more to this. I literally called the section Then Most All Was Silent. But yeah, no, there's nothing more. Dang. During the development of Fazbear's Frights, after having left an introduction for the security guard, Phone Dude decides to play Fazbear World, the Phantom Scourge, and goes for the Shadow Freddy ending. However, somehow it's been corrupted, and by getting the Shadow Freddy ending, it would prove to be the end of the Phone Dude, as Simon, now Springtrap, kills him. And then he would try to kill the security guard for the next week. However, this guy is smart. He knows to lure Springtrap away from him. I don't know, I mean, being in an office and being haunted by phantoms, I think you're going to learn to survive pretty well. At the end of the week, the building burns down due to faulty wiring, and all remaining items are sold at an auction. This auction would be one that Fritz Glade would visit, and he would purchase many items, including Freddy Fazbear's hat and his brother's head. He would give his brother's head a proper burial. After this, he would begin to make weaselware out of an illegal DNA tracking system that he originally used for Simon, but he also, tried to rebuild Simon. At some point, Bonnie scared her father with an old toy Bonnie mask, which he had purchased at the auction. However, due to this, he chopped her up into 6 pieces. This, however, was all part of Bonnie's plan to reach some afterlife that she wanted, and would spark the beginning of the end, as the Popgoes Pizzeria would open soon. Let's finish everything off, shall we? The day before Fritz begins to use sex strings at Popgoes, as a security guard, someone plays Weasel World and eventually finds the spirit of Bonnie Glade, now taking the form of a black shadowy toy Bonnie. That's RXQ. That's the one. Anyway, the next night, Sex Strings starts his week as a security guard at Popgoes, and slowly is used by Simon to help convince Fritz to allow him access to Weaselware, so that he can bring back Bonnie. At the end of Strings' only week, Fritz gives Simon access to Weaselware, and as he said he would, he brought back Bonnie. However, it was in the form of Black Rabbit, something Strings had been preventing Popgoes from making all week. Black Rabbit kills Fritz, completing the plan that Bonnie had all this time. Just after 6 a.m., Simon barges into the main restaurant and walks up to Sex Strings, I assume inducing a full panic meter, ending the Popgoes timeline. And there we have it, the Popgoes Five Nights at Candy's timeline. This isn't some large project like MatPat's FNAF timeline, and you can find much better timelines over Popgoes or Five Nights at Candy's on YouTube, anywhere else. I just decided to put one together that combined both franchises, just because I thought it would be cool. In other news, I'm in the process of making 2 videos. Both explain how their respective subjects work. These are The Ink from Bendy and Remnant from FNAF. These are going to take a lot of time because A, I'm working on the Bendy one as we speak, and B, there are 32 books for Five Nights at Freddy's, and I don't have the time to read all of them. Totally won't be naming that video I suffered, so you don't have to. Anyway, these are going to take some time. Keep an eye out on the community tab for updates. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more. Maybe not like it, but maybe around the same subject. FNAF, candies, Popgoes, Bendy, that kind of thing. Until next time, I've been the Projection Nerd. Have a good day.